Hello, this is Catherine Clement in Boulder, Colorado, and it's a gorgeous day here today. And today is Tuesday, day for our weekly wellness Zoom. So I actually had a guest invited, and he wasn't able to make it, sort of last minute. So that's all right. We're going to carry on anyway. And actually, I found out about something this week that really could be a major thing for different people. Hi there, James. Welcome.
How are you doing, Catherine?
Oh, wait a minute. I got to put my things in.
Oh, shit. Let's see here. Who's all here besides you, dear?
Just me.
Oh, okay.
Yep, just me for now.
Okay, let me turn off the TV. No, I was just talking to some people. I talk to a lot of people that are at work. And if they're at work, that means they're not doing what they're being paid to do. Okay, they're talking to me. This one Spanish guy, he's, well, you got to check out this wine company that I just got involved. He used to be a coffee company. Some guys tried to take our company, and he went with the guys that tried to take our company. Well, now all those guys are in jail. And but yeah, you know, he wasn't making a lot of money in the first place. And see, one of the things I learned a long time ago, those people who are dissatisfied no matter what they're doing. They're dissatisfied with it, and they haven't figured out that their upline not giving them any help. They have to get past their upline and basically do it themselves. Mm-hmm. It's hard for those people to make money. Mm-hmm. But if you're a self-motivated person, if you actually go to learn the mechanics behind networking, okay? Mm-hmm. Mechanics, and the killer part is everybody should know these things because it's interpersonal relationships.
Yep. Problem
is that most people don't get that part. They go, wow, you know, like, what is that? Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately? That's what everybody wants to know, what you've done for them lately.
Yeah.
It's not about what you do for them. It's about what they can do for other people. But most people don't get that part. Mm-hmm. But there's a guy named Peter M. Blackman, who he's like a 74-year-old old white dude, right? And he's been in network marketing for 40 years. He has yet to make $100,000, and he's been doing it for 40 years, right?
Wow.
When I first met him was, why should I want to get with you? I make more than that in like a year with my coffee business. So why would I get with somebody who can't seem to make that much money and you've been doing it for 40 years? He goes, because I don't give up. I said, well, what your problem is you're using the wrong vehicles or you're not marketing correctly. And I ended up talking with his wife, who's 68. That isn't his problem. His problem is he's not focused. Mm-hmm. He starts on a business. 90 days later, he's not happy with it. So he doesn't like market anything. What he does, he just looks for people and he gives the company line. Well, you can't just give the company line. You got to be, first of all, you got to be a product of the product. Mm-hmm. And believe in what you're saying, because that comes across to people. In fact, I was taught with some of the training that I had. First of all, you could look people straight in the eye. You stand up when you're talking to them, even on the phone. Don't be a black snake. I remember a PDF I was given like 10 years ago. It was called "Don't Be Scared of the Black Snake," and I thought they were talking about a snake. Okay, I didn't know they were talking about the people talking on the telephone because I've talked on the telephone my whole life. Uh-huh. Also had another PDF, and it was on magnetic attraction. I got Mike Dillard. I paid $40 for what I thought was a set of CDs and training, whatever. It turned out to be just a pen. That's when I decided I wasn't going to buy any more training tools. Well, I was wrong, because I ended up buying more training tools. I bought training tools from people like Jim Rome, Zig Ziglar, Les, who were multimillionaires. In fact, I got a chance to sit down and talk with Les Brown once. That was first 5 minutes. I just sort of stared at him, little short dude. Now, on TV and on the internet, you look like a really big fella, you know. I said, yeah. And my first question to him had nothing to do with business. I just want to know how come him and Gladys Knight couldn't make it. Because he was married to Gladys Knight for a while. And at one time, I think Gladys Knight was every black man's wet dream. Okay. And he says, hey, look, our schedules conflicted. You know, we couldn't keep quality time together. I said, both of y'all are richer than Cooter Brown. Y'all should, when you got that kind of money, you make time. Mm-hmm. We probably should have. So you know what I find interesting? Rich people don't have time to be with each other. But poor people are with each other all the time. Yeah. Okay? I've noticed also when people get money, because I've dealt with that too. When people get access to money, one of the things that they tend.
Uh-oh. You froze up. My internet's probably slowed down a little bit. You'll come back. It'll kick back in a minute. Oh, it kicked him off. Shoot. He'll come back. So I'm so glad that James showed up, because I didn't have my earbuds in, and therefore my mic was nowhere near my mouth, and you probably couldn't hear a word I said up until the time where he came in. So we'll see if he comes back in. I'm sure he will. I started out saying, though, that I found out something this week that is a huge, could be a huge factor, and definitely is a huge factor for many, many people in the population. And I had never heard of it before. I mean, I'd heard of methylation, but I had never heard of what's called MTHFR. And it's a genetic mutation, and actually there's many genetic mutations that can interfere with different processes in your body. But this one specifically interferes with the ability to utilize folic acid. And so you get a situation, and also B12, so B9 and B12. And you get this situation where you're sort of getting toxic on these, but your body can't use them all at the same time. So you're nutrient deficient, and it can cause really serious health issues, very serious mental health issues, especially anxiety and rage, very serious, can make you have a higher susceptibility rate to heart attack and stroke. Like my father had a heart attack early on, early 40s, I think. He had several while he was alive, I believe. And he also had a major stroke, which really left him unable to care for himself or anything. I believe he had this gene, and I wouldn't be surprised if my mother also has it. I'm definitely sure that I have it, because I have what's called neural tube birth defects. My spinal cord wasn't quite right when I was born, and I've got some other midline defects too. And so if you have any kind of neural tube midline defects, you do have this gene. You just don't know exactly which, whether you're heterozygous or homozygous, whether you got it from one parent, both parents, how it's showing up. It's very good to actually get genetic testing done, and it will tell you exactly which ones you have so that you can supplement your diet, because this happens to be a genetic defect that can actually be helped tremendously through diet and supplementation, but you just have to make sure you get the right ones, the exact right ones. And so 23andMe offers genetic testing. Also, you can go to your primary care doctor and ask them to order it through LabCorp. And some insurances pay for it. So this is something that I'm just learning about. I think that the statistics around it are unbelievable. Like 98% of autistic children have this genetic mutation. 98%. Let me say that one more time. 98% of autistic children have this gene mutation. If they have it, one or both parents have it. Siblings will have it. You know, it's a family affair sort of thing. If you have it, your children will have it. How they express it may be completely different, because there can be so many different ways that it can show up. But for me, I have a lot of the symptoms actually, and they're symptoms that I never really could figure out before, so it really makes a lot of sense. I've already started on, I haven't had the testing done yet, but I just went ahead and started, excuse me, with the methylfolate and the methyl B12 supplements. I started that yesterday or day before yesterday. And, you know, no miraculous changes for me yet, but I think I'm probably quite depleted and it's going to take a little bit of supplementation, but you don't want to just put yourself on mega doses, right? You know, you have to kind of work your way up on the doses. And I'm learning more and more about it. I guess there are doctors that do know about it, but most doctors think that it really is of very little consequence, which is completely wrong, by the way, because if you remember, I told you that it can put you at risk for stroke, you know, give you high blood pressure, put you at risk for stroke and a heart attack. It can also put you at risk for diabetes, for cancer, obviously autism, all sorts of mental health illnesses like bipolar and depression and anxiety. Anxiety is a huge one. Rages and all of this is coming from the inability of the body to process folate. So even if you're getting folic acid in your diet or in your multivitamin, your body's not able to break it down. Let me see if he's trying to get in touch with me. Nope, I don't see a message from him. Well, hopefully he'll come back. Where was I? Poor memory. But certainly what it is, let me pull up the official name of this, MTHFR genetic mutation. That way you'll have more of an idea. So, if I can find the page. Okay, so MTHFR refers to a specific, my phone is distracting me, I'm sorry. It refers to a very specific genetic mutation, but as I said before, there's many of them, like a lot of them. And pretty much everybody in the world has them. It's just that some people don't express, and some people have more of them because they get them from both parents. But, and even, I mean, you can even have it from both parents and still not express. So just having the genetic mutation doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to express. But if you are having these symptoms, why not supplement with the correct nutrients so that your body can, you know, you can really give your body what it needs. Because I have a very good diet myself. I'm vegan. I have a very clean diet, organic. And, speaking of which, that's another huge piece of this MTHFR thing. If you have this, you need to be very hypervigilant to reduce your exposure to environmental toxins, and that would, of course, include non-organic foods. I am so grateful I have a garden here that I don't have to take care of. I wouldn't be physically able to do that, but other people on the property do. And so that is so helpful to me, and it cuts down on what I have to spend at the grocery store. But keep a very clean diet, you know, reduce your exposure to toxins. So that means, you know, stop with the perfumes and the makeup and the nail polishes and all of I don't even recommend deodorant. Coconut oil is antibacterial and it works pretty good. You might have to apply it a couple of times a day, and obviously keep your pits clean, but you're not exposing yourself to aluminum right into a place that pretty much puts it right into your lymph system for you. So aluminum is another thing the body can't really get rid of, and it winds up in the brain, and there's a lot of science around that in Alzheimer's. But getting back to this genetic mutation, it is estimated that 30 to 50% of the population actually have this mutation, but as I said before, not everyone expresses. If you have it, there are some very good websites with really good information. There's a ton of videos on YouTube about it. There's several doctors that really seem to specialize in it, and if you just Google MTHFR doctors in whatever your city is, you'll have some come up. I had about 3 or 4 come up in the place where I live, so I'm going to make an appointment to see one of them and get tested and see exactly what I need to be supplementing with, because for those of you, this may be the first time meeting me or being on one of these. I've essentially been in bed for the last almost 11 years now with severe nerve pain caused from a horseback fall that I had in 2005, and it trapped some nerves, and they were trapped, completely trapped for like 5 years before I found a doctor that could do the surgery that I needed. And although he was able to get the pressure off the nerves, it still resulted in a lot of nerve damage, as you can imagine. If you slammed your hand in a car door and left it there for 5 years, it would take a while to heal. So I'm working on that, but I'm having challenges with energy, with especially stamina, and with muscle weakness. And I know that I'm in bed. You're probably saying, well, duh, you're in bed. But I can walk, and I do get up and walk as much as I can. Today I can't. Every step is extremely painful today. It's just, I've been to the store a couple of times this week, and that's a no-no for me. I can't drive, because to drive I have to sit, and I'm not supposed to sit. So driving, twice in a week, and then doing the walking in the store, that's what happens. So today's a down day, and that's okay, because I focus on what I can do, which is telling you guys about this amazing thing that I found. And it's to me, it's sort of hilarious how they've named it MTHFR, because it brings to mind a curse word that pretty much sums up some of the symptoms that this thing causes. I mean, think about 98% of autistic children have this. That means that they've been able to take these children, put them on the correct diet, put them in the correct environment, and give them the correct supplements, and the symptoms have been taken care of. You can get your children back. This is huge. Obviously I have these midline birth defects, so I have this, therefore I know my son has it. I know my daughter has it. Probably the grandchildren have it, but we don't have to wait. Both my son and my daughter have some symptoms that could very well be alleviated through proper diet and supplementation. And thankfully, none of the grandchildren have presented too hard, but they do have some symptoms that, once again, could be helped. So we're talking, it's not a magic pill, but it kind of sort of is, because, and I'm not selling any products. Thank God I live in Boulder, Colorado, and so we have plenty of health food stores here. I was able to just go to the store and pick some up off the shelf at Vitamin Cottage. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is if you have this genetic mutation, there are some other things that you sort of need to supplement as well to kind of make up for the lack of what you're not able to assimilate, even if your diet is good. So you need more vitamin C, you need, there's several other things that you need, and I wanted to tell you about something else that I started. I had read a little bit about this. It's called moringa powder, and I got an organic kind because, as I said, if you have this gene, I don't know if I can see if I can get this up here where you can see it. Yeah, this is raw organic moringa powder. And moringa, just Google it, look it up, because it is this plant. They say it's like one of the most healthiest and most nutrient dense plants on the face of the earth. And it has, it comes in this very fine powder. You can put it in smoothies, or I put it in orange juice, and you can bake with it. You can put it in beverages. Like I said, I just put in orange juice, but you could put it in applesauce. You could put it in whatever, probably wouldn't be very good just taking it by, because it's a powder, but this is this brand, Superfoods by MRM. This brand just happens to be non-GMO, non-gluten, no preservatives, no refined sugar, no sugar alcohols, which are like the artificial sugars, no animal products, no fillers or additives, and no artificial ingredients. So I was compared this against a couple of other brands that were there, and this is the one that I thought would be good. And it's really just 2 teaspoons a day. And let me jump over here to this page. So here's some things about moringa that you'll want to know. It contains 20 types of amino acids, 46 antioxidants, 36 anti-inflammatory compounds, and more than 90 nutrients, which make it one of the best nutritional supplements. It is an excellent source of minerals like iron, calcium, and vitamins A, B, B1, B2, B3, B6. Notice B9 and B12 aren't there, and that's important because we can't break them down if you have this gene. C, E, as well as macro minerals, trace minerals, and phytonutrients. So as you can see, this is an additional, an excellent addition to your diet. And so for 2 teaspoons full, you're looking at about 21% protein for an adult, 84% of your calcium, 54% magnesium, 22% potassium, 94% iron, 162% A, 9% C. So you might want to take some more C, I guess. Actually, just get it in your leafy greens. That's the best way. So, but it boosts stamina. It can control diabetes. It is a major, most powerful antioxidant. Very powerful. I won't say the most powerful because I believe that is glutathione. That is the most powerful antioxidant. It is effective in lowering the LDL cholesterol levels, which are the ones that you want to be low. It helps control blood pressure. It helps to give, it's a natural remedy for insomnia. It detoxifies. It can treat depression. And it's organic by nature. And it's very safe. In Africa, it's often given to the babies to overcome malnourishment. It's good for pregnant women and lactating mothers. Anything that's good for a pregnant lady or a breastfeeding lady is good because they're, they can't take a lot of things. So it's pretty safe is what I'm saying. And you can also use it to treat minor infections. It's has some minor bacterial and antibacterial, antifungal benefits. It improves immunity, and it's even good topically. And and you can use it like as a face pack for glowing skin. I guess it's supposed to delay the aging process, so I guess I'll start looking even younger. And you can even put the powder on wounds, and it heals cuts and wounds. And it's supposed to be a prerequisite. It'll give you really healthy hair, and that'll be interesting because my hair has been thinning, which is actually one of the can be a symptom of many things, but thyroid and MTHFR can go together. It aids in keratin formation, and that's also important for your hair and to prevent hair loss. It aids in hair growth. It stimulates hair growth, and it provides nutrients to hair follicles. So this is a lot of really good stuff. Anything that helps with diabetes is good. So anything that helps you keep your sugar under control, and preferably without taking metformin or some of those oral diabetics or insulin, because those drugs have major effects on your body. And just stay away from them if you can. I know that that was actually part of my father's problem. He was diabetic, and I'm pretty positive he had this gene, this genetic mutation. And if 30 to 50% of the population has it, it's a pretty good chance, that you might. So if you're having some symptoms, just get on Google and Google MTHFR. And the website, again, for the genetic testing is 23, the numbers, 23, andme.com. And the testing is $199. They do, you receive 60 plus personalized genetic reports, and there's no monthly subscription or membership fee after you get the test, I guess. They must have a community going there, which is very good. Like I said, there are several doctors here in my area that I'm going to check out that know about this. And perhaps I can get one of them to come back on here on one of the Zooms and tell you guys about it, because obviously I'm not super educated about this. It's something that I just found out just a few days ago. But when I hear that 98% of autistic kids are anything, I'm going to pay notice, because those kids are losing out on a lot of their life, and their families are too. And God bless them. They need all the help they can get. So there are some things that you can do, excuse me, if you have this gene. Let me mute. Just a second. All right, that should be hopefully a little better. There are some things that you can do if you have this for yourself and your children or your parents or your grandchildren. You can avoid taking folic acid blocking or depleting drugs like birth control pills and methotrexate. You should also avoid taking proton pump inhibitors like Prilosec, Prevacid, or antacids like Tums, because they block B12 absorption. And you're already, see, this is the thing. This is why there's different expressions with these genes. One person could have this, and they could have like a 10% reduction of the enzymes that their body is making that break down the folic acid and the B12. They could have a 10% reduction. Somebody else might have a 30% reduction. They're going to have a little bit more expression. Somebody else might have a 70, 75%, a 90% reduction, whatever. And they could be showing a lot of symptoms. So there's so varied degrees, and as I said before, many doctors don't really think that this is a thing, that it's totally a thing. So pay attention to it, especially because it's something that you can so easily remedy. And I have just go to YouTube. You know, there's people on there with their stories. Get on some web pages, look some of this stuff up, and you'll see that there's amazing stories out there where people have just been in horrible health and in bed. And I mean, I would love to see my body be able to heal better. I totally understand that there's a huge connection between B12 and folic acid or folate absorption and the nervous system. And because I have nerve pain, it completely makes sense to me that this could help my pain a lot once I get my reserves built back up, you know, and I get enough of the right stuff in my body. So I'm going to be doing this moringa powder every day. And I should have got the bottles down, but I'm doing 800 micrograms of methylated folate and 1,000 micrograms of B12. I don't take the B12 every day. I do that about 3 or 4 times a week, but I'm going to do the folate every day and see what happens. So I'm excited and very hopeful, and I'm so pleased to share this. I know that some people probably have known about this forever, but I'm just finding out about it, and I know that it can have a huge impact on people and their families. And, you know, my mother's side of the family, pretty much everybody died of cancer. This can make you predisposed to cancer. You know, on my dad's side of the family, everybody died of strokes, and this can make you, you know, more susceptible to strokes. So anything that you can do to supplement, to prevent some of that, whether you have this mutation or not, you know, why not take advantage of that knowledge and really give your body some good things. And I don't know where my friend went. I don't know where James went. I was hoping he would jump back on here. Shoot. Message. All right, sorry about that. So, yeah, take advantage. You know, education is so important. That's one of the things that I learned having both the spinal cord and quite honestly, probably the reason that I have the spinal cord birth defect that I have is because of this mutation. Because my mom has it, or she wouldn't have had a baby that had it, and her body was not utilizing enough folic acid while she was pregnant, and therefore that's what affected my birth defect, which is very closely related to spina bifida, and that's what causes that. That's why they started making all these multivitamins with folic acid, and they put pregnant women on them. You know, pregnant women are always encouraged to take these vitamins that are high in folic acid. Well, guess what? If 30 to 50% of the population has this MTHFR gene mutation, they should not be taking those vitamins with the high folic acid because their body doesn't break it down, and it can become toxic to them and to the child. So this is, I don't understand why this isn't more widely talked about, more taken into consideration. I have some friends with children who are affected by, you know, autism, ADHD, severe mental illness. And I mean, I was immediately, on an email or on the phone to them telling them about this and so far, only one person that I've told knew about it. I always start out by saying, I know you probably already know this, and you've been dealing with this whatever symptom for however long, but I didn't know it. So I'm 52 years old, and I went through nursing school. They never mentioned this in nursing school. Obviously, you can't cover everything in nursing school. I don't know whether they mention it in medical school or not, but I sure hope that they start, because it obviously can have huge effects on people. It does affect the gut, which I do have gut issues, and so that makes sense to me. And there are definitely some foods that you do want to eat and some that you don't want to eat. But there's enough foods. It's not such a limited diet. It's doable, is what I want to say. So, and if it's going to change your life, if it's going to reduce your chance for cancer, for depression, for mood instability, bipolar has been treated. This is a common in bipolar disorder. And once they get on the right food and the right supplements, their mood stabilize out. It's a huge thing for people that have these major anxiety. And you can see why two people can have such different responses in stressful situations. I mean, one little thing can happen in the day and it can throw somebody off for a whole day, days, weeks, even months sometimes. And then other people can just roll with whatever and it doesn't affect them. And it's hard to understand. And I know I actually deal with stress pretty well, I think. My body is kind of messed up, so maybe I don't deal with it as well as I think I do. But after being a nurse for 20 years, I mean, I kind of had to learn how to deal with stress as far as maintaining a calm demeanor and figuring things out and just doing the next best right thing at the moment, and being able to categorize things. And but if you have this and you've tried like everything, because some of us, it seems like we've tried everything and nothing is helping. So what if it is this? How cool would that be to find out that you just need to do some diet changes and the proper supplementation through this genetic testing. And like I said, if you're not expressing, don't worry about it. But if you see someone else expressing, like I'll admit, I have not always, although I'm a very empathetic person, because I've had so many struggles that I've had to push through, I don't always have a lot of sympathy sometimes, especially if whatever someone is complaining about is something that I perceive to be a very minute thing. Like I've really had to learn not to sweat the small stuff and really prioritize things. And so if I see somebody completely, their whole week is ruined because the store didn't have their color of nail polish or something, I'm just not very sympathetic to such things. And even my kids, God bless them, when they were little, they'd wake up and, oh, Mom, I don't want to go to school. And I mean, I'd whip out the stethoscope and listen to their lungs. And if they weren't on the verge of pneumonia, off to school they went. So I'm kind of like, put your big girl panties on and bust through this sort of person. And I haven't always had the compassion and patience and sympathy that I should have had with people who are having anxiety or some of these mood issues and depressions and things like that. Like I've experienced depression from the standpoint of being in pain, severe pain for so many years. But I try to stay very uplifted, focusing on what I can do instead of what I can't do. So that kind of, you know, not to say that I never get upset or cry or anything like that, but yeah, do it, get it out of your system, and then, you know, go about building the life you want, even if you have to do it from bed, is sort of my motto. But being a hard ass isn't necessarily nice. You know, I've probably said some things that were very harsh and cruel to people when I tell them to put their big girl panties on, if they are really, say, someone that has this gene mutation and their body is just in this chemical shitstorm, for lack of a better word. I mean, this MTHFR affects your dopamine levels, your serotonin levels. Well, guess what? There's a lot of psych drugs that also either raise or lower dopamine, raise or lower serotonin levels, and things like that. And I mean, that's primarily what they do, is they change those sorts of chemicals. So why not change them with food? If the only reason that they're messed up is because your body doesn't have the enzyme that it needs to break down the nutrients that are the precursor to the enzyme that allows you to assimilate that nutrient. I hope you followed that. I almost didn't. But, you know, how cool is that to be able to take a food or a nutrient instead of a pharmaceutical? Because some of these pharmaceuticals have horrible side effects. Some of them actually increase suicidal thoughts. And I know, because before my surgery, they kept trying me on one after another after another. I did not tolerate any of them, thank God, because they can have serious side effects on your body. Serious side effects, like on your heart, on your movement. Some of them, like I said, cause increased suicidal thoughts. I certainly had increased suicidal thoughts when I was on them. And by the way, this MTHFR gene mutation, I wanted to touch on some of the symptoms, because I've mentioned the symptoms, and obviously you can Google them, but birth defects, midline neural tube, birth defects like I have. So anything like spina bifida or tethered cord syndrome. There are also other, you know, my kidneys aren't right. I've got the blood vessels in my head aren't right. And I had problems with my reproductive system and have had to have all that removed, basically. And some other things are going to be, again, thinning, dry, brittle hair, lack of energy, lack of stamina, muscle spasms with, after, you know, like your muscles just fatigue really easily. And that is definitely what's going on with me. I can walk, and I can walk well. I mean, you would not even know that I'm twice out of a wheelchair and I've been in bed this long by watching me walk. I've trained myself to walk without a limp, even when I have bilateral sciatica going on. And I don't know if you've ever had sciatica, but that's nerve pain that shoots down your legs into your feet and stuff. And I get that a lot. And I know that when I'm hurting, if I'm limping, I'm like really pushing my alignment out of whack. And so I try not to limp. So today, that's why I just won't walk much today, because today I'm kind of bad. It's not sciatica, it's pudendal pain. But I'm so praying that some of this nerve pain, you know, because I understand my nervous system. I've been in this pain 24/7 for almost 11 years, and my nervous system is like, they call it centralized pain. It's like your nervous system gets wired for it. It like digs furrows into, like going down a dirt road. If you follow the same path, you get these ruts in the road. Well, this kind of pain for that many years just like makes ruts in your central nervous system. And if you add that on top of the spinal cord and the spinal cord damage that I already have, it just makes for a really messed up central nervous system with some pretty strange symptoms. But back to the MTHFR, again, like I said, 98% of autistic kids have this gene mutation. People with anxiety, especially anxiety that runs in the family. And obviously environment has a huge impact on that. So you do have to take into consideration the environment, like I said, the toxic part, but also the behavioral part. I mean, if you're just living in chaos and drama all the time, which could be a side effect of, it could be stemming from the anxiety and the depression and the bipolar and all of these things, So I found out that having it, people that have thyroid disorders, you should see if you have this gene. It has a huge effect on the whole methylation process, so your ability to break down toxins. So certainly people that have multiple chemical sensitivity, anybody that has nerve pain going on, people with fibromyalgia, almost, there's a good chance that you probably have this gene. So any of these autoimmune disorders that are so prevalent now, I don't know if you've noticed lately, but it seems like there's just more and more autism showing up, more and more chemical sensitivity showing up, more and more cancer, more everything. It's a toxic world that we live in so many ways. And God made our bodies these amazing creations that can actually detoxify these things most of the time. But some of us came in a little bit glitched, and we're unable to detoxify ourselves. And it just makes so much sense to me, especially if you have this gene mutation, you may not respond to medications, or you may be very sensitive to them. Like you may not respond to lidocaine. I've had to get stitches with, I had to have people hold me down to get stitches because the lidocaine wasn't working. And I had a root canal that was done without lidocaine because it wasn't working. And, but sensitivity to medications, or just, like pain medicines won't work for you. By the way, pain medicines don't normally work well for nerve pain. So if you have nerve pain like I do, actually the thing I recommend is medical marijuana. And if you don't live in a state that has medical marijuana, I suggest that you move. That's how much it helps me compared to how much excruciating pain I'm in if I don't have it. It gets to where it takes over my brain and I can't focus on anything. I certainly wouldn't be able to talk for an hour but to myself or into a camera to you guys. And I wouldn't be able to get my thoughts together to complete a sentence because this pain, this nerve pain, just drills into my head. It's not a headache. I don't have a headache, but it affects my ability to just have a thought or complete a sentence. And so if you suffer with nerve pain and you're trying to, never give up, always look for things that can help. I think this MTHFR gene mutation can be a huge thing. There are also other ones like COMT. I'm sorry, I don't know what the real word for these are, but they tend to abbreviate them and they call them SNPs because they're little pieces, like the MTHFR gene is on the very first chromosome. And so they call them SNPs because there's just these little snippet parts of your chromosomes that aren't quite right. And in the nursing field, sometimes we refer to it as piss poor genes, which is PPG. I know that's sort of cruel, but you do develop sort of a black sense of humor when you're in the medical field for 20 years. But you just see people that come in that it just seems like they have everything going wrong with them, and you might see, and maybe they seem to be doing all the right things, eating the right food and exercising and staying away from toxins and not smoking cigarettes and stuff like that, but then you see these other people that are eating McDonald's and drinking pop and smoking, and they just seem to live to 100. And it just doesn't make any sense. You know, or you see people like, what's his name? Like Dr. Wayne Dwyer. Obviously, he had a pristine diet. He had plenty of money to eat all of the things he needed, but perhaps he had this and wasn't aware of it. You know, how about Patrick Swayze? He looked like the perfect picture of health, and then he goes down with liver cancer. Perhaps he had this, and not addressing the basic nutritional needs are what ultimately led to their demise. We won't know. You know, I don't think they're going to figure that out at this point, but it's certainly something that you want to do. You want to just go to Google, put in MTHFR, Google it, look up some YouTube videos, look up some information on some websites, do the testing if you can, especially if you really suspect that you have it, so that you know exactly which genes you're working with. Nutrition is important. I think this moringa powder is going to be an amazing addition to my diet. I'm not an affiliate or anything, you know, I'm just saying, and I'm not saying you have to get this brand, but I kind of like that it seems to be really clean. And the taste was fine. I put it in orange juice, actually, and I didn't have any trouble drinking it. I mean, I've tasted some stuff that really tasted horrible. And I was sort of expecting this to taste like wheatgrass, because wheatgrass is another really nutrient-dense plant. But this is even more nutrient-dense than wheatgrass. And so many of you don't know, but I actually live semi-off-grid. I don't have refrigeration. I do have a cold water sink. It's kind of seasonal. In the winter, it will freeze up. But I don't have like indoor plumbing, like a toilet. I use a sawdust commode, like composting. And I used to live completely off-grid, but now I do have some electricity. I am hooked up to the electric grid so that I can talk to you amazing people and get the internet. And but because of the way I live, and because of I was sort of already on a limited diet being vegan, I don't think I get all the nutrients that I need, even though we have an organic garden and it's amazing. You know, our soils have been depleted, and just rain that falls on it, who knows what's in the rainwater. And so I think this is going to be a really good, I want you to look it up, moringa. Look it up. Look at all the different ways. See if you think it's worth it. I think this was $12, I want to say, about $12. And it's 2 teaspoons a day. And this is 240 grams or 8.5 ounces. I think this will probably last a month. So we're talking $12 a month to give your body some excellent nutrition. And as far as I know, I haven't seen moringa, like I haven't seen anybody say don't use moringa if you have MTHFR. But if I find that out, of course, I will let you know right away on next week's Wellness Zoom. And hopefully the person that was supposed to come on this week can come next week. If not, I'm sure he'll make it on soon enough. He's busy and moved recently and things. So we're looking forward to announcing him to all of you guys and letting him tell you what all the cool stuff he does. So, all right. If you got your pen and paper, you should have these things down by now. You're going to look up moringa, and you're going to look up MTHFR, and you're going to look up methylation. And I will include those words in the title of this video so that you have them. And God knows, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I really feel like I have been given yet another piece to my health. And I just want to highly encourage you all. It's so easy. It's so easy to start focusing on everything that's not working in your body, on everything that you can't do. Reminiscing over things you used to be able to do that you can't do, or things that you haven't been able to do forever. It's easy to get into that doom and despair sort of mindset. And I'm telling you, I'm an energy worker. I feel energy in my body. And I know, why can't you heal yourself? That always comes up. But God does the healing. That's all I can say there. And I'm sure that everything in my life is exactly as it should be, because if I didn't have the pain in my body right now, I would not be talking to you. And I know that this message is going to reach people. And even if it reaches one person, it makes a difference in one person's life, it's going to be so totally worth it. So, sorry, I'm getting all these pop-ups. So I'm so excited about this. Not that, oh, like I'm constantly looking for things wrong with me. No, not at all. I'm constantly open to possibilities, and you need to be too. Always be constantly be open to possibilities that new products, new techniques, new modalities. I'm going to be going to Atlanta, Georgia to have some cryotherapy on these nerves, cryotherapy where they freeze the nerves. People are having really good success, and they do all kinds of nerves, not just the pudendal nerve. So if you're have nerve damage, nerve pain, you want to get out of it, cryotherapy is another thing that you want to look up. And of course, we want you to drink good, healthy water. I have several friends that are in the Kangen water business. If you need that hookup, I've got it. I'm not in it myself. But one of the reasons that I do this is to bring some of these things to the attention of people, because this is a very inexpensive fix. The methylated folate was, I don't know, $10 or $12, something like that. So you're talking about, and the B12 was even less than that. So you're talking about, for less than $30 a month, possibly completely changing your life, in your children's life, and your grandchildren's life, and your parents' life, and your friends' lives, and all these crazy symptoms can go away, and we can all get back to living our lives happily. And I just, if you're out there watching this, I just thank you so much. And I hope that this helps you. And please, I really want to have people come to these wellness Zooms and have a conversation about these things. I mean, I'll keep talking to the camera if I need to, but I would really love for people to come on and be live and share their experiences, especially if they have this gene. I would love for you to come on and share what you've learned and how it's helped you and your family. And, let's just like we're sitting around having coffee and talk about these things and help each other, because 98, I know I keep saying this, but 98% of autistic kids have this gene. This is huge, 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 huge. Almost everybody that I know probably, and everybody out there listening to this probably knows somebody that has an autistic child. Please pass along this information. Thank you so much for coming or for watching afterwards. I'd love to have you on live next time. There's room for 50 people in here, and if we get more than 50, I will upgrade the package and where we can go to 100. So I really want this to be a community, and I want to hear your wisdom. I just happen to come across some of these things because I always have my hand and my mind open to something that can help people and help myself, because I know that the healthier I am, the more people I'll be able to help. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, for listening, and blessings on you and your family. And I hope that I hope this really goes out there and helps somebody. I'm excited. I know it's going to help me. I just can feel it. So I'll talk to you guys next week, same time, same bat channel. That's Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Mountain, my time. And I'll see you then. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about yet, but we'll figure it out between now and then. All right. Have a blessed week. Bye-bye.